think these are great stories, what you have shared. And with this, I think the viewers might really think through what an idea can become and how people can articulate. Listening skills are very important. Storytelling is important. Yeah, it is very important. Like the gurus or their parents should support in their ideas. Listen to them completely. I absolutely agree with you, Dr. Aparna. And I'm sure that the younger generation will have that freedom in future to become an entrepreneur and, change the world. So in the interest of time, I would definitely close with one last question about women entrepreneur. So you are in number of organizations transforming the women entrepreneurship. So what is your message to the women on becoming an entrepreneurship?
The question is to me, Soundari?
Yeah, start off. Please start off, Aparna.
Okay, I'll start off. Yes. So women need not have a physical company in their name to be called entrepreneurs. Because women are women know, I think Indians essentially are entrepreneurial and resourceful in their thinking by virtue of the challenges that they face. So people write it off under the head of jugaad, but it's not jugaad. It's about the ability to navigate through the stickiest of situations and come out and get the job done. And somehow women have this ability in a very unique way. Women across the world, again, not necessarily Indian women, And so having said that, women entrepreneurship, let me put a thought to you. Women form 50% of the population in India. Okay, if not 50%, maybe 40%. I may not have the right numbers. But imagine 40% of your population being self-reliant, being able to do things on their own, using their existing skill sets and generating employment or generating revenue through some skill set that they have. Imagine what it would do to the GDP of the country. Imagine what kind of business value that would bring, right? There are now, so this recognition of the economic value, and if there is economic freedom, then the social freedom and the other cultural differences that we talk about and the other hangovers that we talk about in our society somehow tend to get they actually get defeated, because there is economic freedom which liberates you. And I have seen several companies doing different kinds of things for women entrepreneurs. Mahindra & Mahindra, very many years ago, maybe 2010 or 12, I remember, I read an article in a newspaper where they spoke about, they designed tractors for women, where women could drive tractors, and women meaning they had to drive tractors, you wearing saris. So that's how they made the tractor friendly for women to drive. They trained cohorts of women in driving these tractors. They tried this in the north as well as in Tamil Nadu. The women used the tractors for the fields, for picking up things, for dropping their kids to school. People would, so the same one object has kind of created so much of freedom in that society, in that community. And the men got free to go to the nearby cities or nearby towns and get incomes, work on other jobs that they were good at. So suddenly the money, the income in the family doubled. Absolutely. This article has stuck in my mind. It's not that I have it in front of me or anything of the sort, but just see the power of one intervention. Today, you have several such interventions, like Kalari Capital, for example, has brought in CXXO, has introduced, and they have, Vanikola has put in her personal monies, $10 million every year to support women-led ventures. Then there is the Women in Entrepreneurship program that we are running at IIT Mumbai, which supports women through network and through facilitating connections with people who can bring in their marketplace connections, the networking, the product development, infrastructure, technology, funding, so that kind of an umbrella organization. Then you have Action for India, which is looking at women entrepreneurs. Aspire for Her, where Soundari and I met, is a massive platform for women, not just for entrepreneurs, but it's a fantastic platform to provide opportunities to ensure that workplaces have the right diversity ratio. And they have launched a program called Entrepreneurship. So I would like Soundari to talk about that also.
Definitely.
So Entrepreneurship, yes. So Soundari, would you like to talk about that? So there are several programs like this. Wiki, where I'm a member, the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce, is looking at sustainable businesses and sustainable business management. And we are doing one research project right now where we found that somehow women-led ventures are naturally leaning towards sustainable businesses. So women naturally tend to think about people, planet, prosperity, profits, the bottom line. So they're not only thinking profit, they're not only thinking capitalism, they're not only thinking consumerism. So women are thinking about, if there is a lady thinking of a food company, she's thinking about eco-friendly packaging or recyclable packaging. So things like that. Yes. So it's a powerful segment and lots more to talk about that.
Very well said, Dr. Aparna. I know that by birth, every woman is always a very well managed entrepreneur, right? It begins from home. I'm sure that will be successful. Yeah, over to you, Soundari. And
if you have to, if you have to look at it in three parts, one is the access to capital, the second is access to mentorship and networks, and the third is the access to communities.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work that's being done on all three. And we talked about access to capital, which is CXXO, Vanicolas, Wiki, and all that. There's access to mentorship and networks, which are absolutely important. And Aparna and I sometimes tease each other about this as entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs, what you do is you think up of a concept, which you write in a letter, then you put it in an envelope, you lick the envelope, you stick the envelope, you lick the stamp, you stick the stamp, and then you post the letter, then you call the person and ask them, have you received the letter? So you're doing everything. So it is sort of like you need so much of support mechanism to remove some of the tactical work out of you so you can think strategic.
Mm-hmm.
An entrepreneur ends up doing this, and this is one of the common mistakes, and I'm guilty of it in my initial entrepreneurship journey as well, of trying to do everything, not employing, because you're constantly thinking costs.
Exactly.
You don't employ resources. You try to do everything yourself. And that doesn't, it's not a long game then. It's a short-term solution. You're going to burn yourself out. You're not going to have the time to think strategically on things that you should be focusing on. So what is it that others can do and what can you remove yourself of? And access to mentorships and networks really helps you do that. And Entrepreneurship by Aspire for Her, which has a lot more platforms. It also has a platform on return to work. The whole idea of work is again not defined in a very narrow way. You want to be an entrepreneur, whatever line of work that you want to take, there is a support mechanism. Lot of the people, mentors in the platform are people who are also doing this, having had a fruitful corporate career, now looking at how do we give back to the community. So tapping on your networks and not, really looking at ask and you'll get kind of thing. And Aparna talked about WIE. So through their Ideas program, there was a lady who had come in for speed mentoring, and she was working in a particular problem that she was trying to solve in Hyderabad. During the course of the program, I realized that I had some contact with somebody in the similar industry who had already been a pioneer there. So she stayed in touch with me, but it's also that perseverance and the drive. So the conversation happened on a Saturday. On Sunday morning, I had a WhatsApp from her saying, oh, can you connect me to the person? You said you'll connect. Can you connect me to the person? Now I said, yeah, it's Sunday. I had thought to myself, it's Sunday, kisi ko trouble na kare, Monday ko karte hain. But her eagerness and her drive made me do the connection and go. So sometimes it's also ask and you'll get.
Yes.
So you need to be very okay to ask, and it pans itself out. And creating some of these networks which create access to communities. How do you support each other? How can you find ways to collaborate with each other? Because you'll, as they say, you can't go far if you go alone. I'm paraphrasing the saying, but if you want to make the world a better place, if you want to have a really big, hairy, audacious goal, you need to go beyond, and you need to collaborate, and you need to be finding ways to create those mechanisms. So access to capital, access to mentors, networks, and community, all are essential.
I think you have rightly said. And a simple example I say, because not only women entrepreneurship, even men entrepreneurs as well, they do themselves because they are in the early stage. They wanted to save some money, but networking, mentoring, as you said, giving up to the community. Many people are there across the networks to help you. So people do not get into those networking. That's why they are not successful. I will proudly say, Soundari, because connecting you is Dr. Aparna, right? So networking with Dr. Aparna, she has introduced me to number of people, this mentorship, this willingness to help, really taking the show as well forward. So I would say all the viewers to take this as an important point. When you want to do a startup, don't think that you are alone, right? There are many people, many networks, many internships who can help with a minimal economical way, and you can be benefited out of it. And then they might give some thoughts how to go forward. You rightly said, Dr. Aparna and Soundari, really these are very important things. I'm sure the viewers will take away as a very important inputs for their entrepreneurial journey. And in the interest of time, I would let you both to tell final message to all the viewers, and then we will close. And again, thank you for your time. Over to you, Soundari, and then followed by Dr. Aparna, we'll close the show.
Yeah. No, like, entrepreneurship is a long journey. Like we keep saying, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It can also be a very lonely journey.
Yes.
So, one thing that I missed mentioning earlier, there are a lot of automation tools that are available now in the market. Mm-hmm. So we need to develop the expertise to sift through them and use them, so we can make ourselves also, that much more freer to focus on the strategic issues. So it is a long game. So we need to also look at self-care. I was listening to a Clubhouse talk just before, I think a few days back, and one startup founder said, founder's journey, there is no room for rest. And this founder was a founder of a wellness industry. So that for me didn't strike okay. You need to really look at self-care these days. We can be doing everything over the weekend, time in and day out, but you have to pace yourself. You don't want a burnout situation. Take care of yourself, put your oxygen mask first, so that you're able to do all the pay forward that you want to do.
Absolutely. Very well said. Dr. Aparna, how about you? What is your message to the community?
Yes. So let me take from what Soundari said. You have to be covered yourself first before you go out there and actually try and do things that to change the world, which is definitely on. And I do know several successful entrepreneurs. One of my icons is Deepa Soman. Another one is Karen Shaiva. They are always cheerful. You don't know, meaning I'm sure they're facing storms at their workplace and their companies, but the way they conduct themselves and the peace that they bring to you when you talk to them, you go to them with a question and you get your answers. So this personal wellness is critical. From there, another mantra that I learned, meaning, a colleague of mine used to quote it very often. And it was something that Dr. Shrikant of SP Jain used to say many times. He would say that there are 5 words which will help you to become more efficient as a manager or as a leader. The first word, so they are eliminate, automate, outsource, delegate, and do it yourself. So you go through these layers, this thought process. So by the time you come to the do it yourself, you know that these are my tasks. I do not give them to anybody else to do. But the rest of it, I can figure out how I can get solutions. And today there are solutions available. And in fact, we were also talking, Soundari and I, and many of us on the Aspire for Her group were talking about how we wish we were 16 again, just for the number of entrepreneurship opportunities that are available. And then I said, no, that's okay. So we are 16, maybe with some extra years of experience. And that's exactly why I decided to kind of, take the plunge and say, I'm going to start up things on my own. And it's high time that I do that, rather than simply sit on a chair and tell people, okay, you do this or you do that. I'm going to take the plunge because there is opportunity available today.
Absolutely. So yes, I think your journey with so many young entrepreneurs, definitely you might have thought that we need to be again in our 16 and do some wonderful. I think that's very, very true and very informational on the entrepreneur journey for the early startups. And thank you all the viewers, and thank you Soundari, and thank you Dr. Aparna. It is too late and you have given your time, and it is really honor, and I'm blessed to have you on my show. And I would say all the viewers, these are the powerful people coming and explaining, and this is giving back to the community. Everyone, please, if you need any help, don't hesitate. Please reach out to us and we are more than happy to help. And good luck if you are a young entrepreneur or looking for a startup. Please understand these small principles and mantras and you will be successful. Again, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Praveen, for organizing this. Thanks, Aparna.